SFSC, Sporty Franciscan Super Chief.
SFSC, Simply Franciscan, Simply Cares.
Mabuhay Pilipinas and hello to the rest of the world.
Welcome to your new companion in looking at the church, the world, and the society from the religious point of view. This is your kahabit, Sister Happy Montecillo of the Daughters of St. Anne.
Join us for a weekly dose of inspiration and information straight from the consecrated men and women of the Philippines. I am your kahabit, Father Angel Cortez from the Order of Friars Minor.
And we are the
Habits.
Welcome back, kahabit Father Angel. Para ang tagal mo nang nawala sa The Habits.
Siguro 2 linggo.
Oh, ganun ba yun?
Oo.
Yeah, supposed to be last week. No, the other week we were together on the spot, but then something happened. Really, so sorry to hear about it. But we experienced all the same, the sadness.
Yes, nais ko rin gamitin yung pagkakataon no, to thank our kahabits, lalo na yung mga congregations, yung mga men and women religious na nagpaabot ng kanilang pakikiramay at pagdadalamhati at ganoon din pagbati sa aking kaarawan.
Wow.
So sa inyo pong lahat, maraming salamat sa inyong pagmamahal at pagpapaabot ng inyong pakikiramay.
Yes. You see how we express, nakita ko rin yung how we express solidarity to one another, nakikisama sa, siyempre, in the sadness, and at the same time in this pain. But also at this time, also in our topic today, actually, we are also one with the pains of our brothers and sisters who are also suffering because of social injustices.
Yes, napaka-timely din no, dahil alam niyo na pinagdiriwang din natin yung anniversary ng EDSA People Power. No?
Yes.
And in line with that ay meron tayong isang icon of democracy, makabagong icon ng democracy na hanggang ngayon ay pinananawagan natin na talagang palayain na dahil alam natin na malaki din yung maitutulong niya. And besides, ang AMRSP ay patuloy na gumagawa ng paraan para makipag-ugnayan sa mga kapatid nating nagtatrabaho for human rights, no? Andyan ang Task Force Detainees of the Philippines, ang para at ang
Yes.
iba't iba pang mga human rights advocates and organization that is helping our mission to really express our solidarity for human rights. Yan.
Okay, so, mga kahabits, kayo naman, paano natin mapapanatili ang hustisya at demokrasya para sa lahat? Share na yan sa ating social media, comment down below the live streams, but first, visit our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/amrsp.org and don't forget to click the like and follow buttons.
Gusto rin naming kunin ang pagkakataon na ito para pasalamatan ang lahat ng sumusuporta sa ating online media ministry on Facebook. Thank you very much sa ating 10,000 plus followers.
And also, maraming salamat po sa mga hindi nag-skip ng ads habang nanonood ng ating mga Facebook videos. At syempre sa ating mga pinakamamahal na star senders. Dahil as of today, meron na tayong nalikom na more than 1,000 stars.
Send us some more stars. You can buy stars and send them to us during the live broadcast. You can also send animated virtual gifts attached to different stars amounts that will appear in our streams.
Dahil for every star we receive, we earn $0.01 US. What are we waiting for? Click the star icon next to the chat bar to try sending stars now. But take note, it's only available to the AMRSP Facebook page. Tara, send na!
And kahabits, hindi lang sa Facebook, ituloy na rin ang suporta hanggang sa YouTube. Visit our YouTube channel, AMRSP Media, hit the like button and share this video. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe para mapabilang ka sa ating 800 plus subscribers.
Present din ang the habits hindi lang sa social media dahil mapapanood din tayo sa TV Maria every Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with replays every Thursdays at 6 a.m. and 10 p.m.
Let's start our information routine as we usually do. Let's now begin with the religious reports.
Leading our stars today on the religious reports. New Salesian Sisters Superior. We are happy to announce the new Provincial Superior of the Daughters of Mary, Help of Christians, also known as the Salesian Sisters, who is Sister Teresita Tita Padron, FMA, assuming the responsibilities from Sister Mabel Pilar, the Provincial Superior of the Salesian Sisters, for the past 6 years. Sister Pilar, the incumbent superior, announced this good news during the Provincial Educating Community Online Gratitude Day on Saturday, February 20, 2021. Sister Tita is at present the community animator of Mary Help of Christians School in Minglanilla, Cebu. Father Dexter Toledo, OFM, laid to rest. The AMRSP is mourning to the sudden death of Father Dexter Toledo, OFM, former co-executive secretary of the association, who passed away early morning of Monday, February 8, due to cardiac arrest. He was 37. According to Father Shelito Almazan, AMRSP co-chairperson and the Minister Provincial of the Order of Friars Minor Philippines Province, Father Toledo's dedication and zeal for prophetic gospel witnessing, remarkable charism, and his Franciscan vocation will also be missed not only by the consecrated women and men here in the Philippines, but also by their Minister General and the Franciscan General Lay community in Rome. Father Toledo was laid to rest Friday, February 12 at the La Loma Catholic Cemetery. Father Dex, as some of his loved ones called him, served the AMRSP from 2014 to 2015 and 2017 to 2018. He was also the former Provincial Secretary of the Friars Minor Philippines, but the office is now assumed by Father Joan Pader, OFM. Father Toledo also became the National Coordinator of Ecological Justice Interfaith Movement and was one of the conveners of the Global Catholic Climate Movement Philippines.
More reports from the consecrated in the Philippines. Claretian missionaries condemn Basilan desecration. The Claretian missionaries issued a message of solidarity on the desecration of the sacred images of saints and of the Virgin Mary in 2 chapels under the prelature of Isabela de Basilan, Sunday, February 21. The congregation who have served the island of Basilan since the immemorial again expressed their solidarity to every peace-loving Muslims, Christians, and indigenous in the island. The Claretian also started their condemnation to the disgraceful act of decapitating sacred images and implored those who are in power to ensure that something similar will not happen again in the future. The Claretians were deeply saddened by the incident, especially that it happened during Ash Wednesday, the start of the season of Lent and the observance of the sacrifices of the Lord, symbolized by these sacred images to the faithful. The act of sacrilege leaves not only a mark of utter disrespect to faith, but also a blatant affront to the peace-loving Catholic believers in the prelature, they added. The Claretian missionaries also supports the call of Bishop Leo Dalmau, CMF, for the people under the prelature to stay in prayer, calmness, discernment, and temperance amid such atrocious display of religious intolerance. In the latter part of the message, we quote, "We ardently pray for the end of this vicious act of hate even as we continue to implore for peace and respect, seeking the common good for all. And now, here's the reports from the Holy See and the Universal Church. Cardinal Tagle's additional appointment. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, has appointed His Eminence Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle to his new assignment in the Vatican, alongside His Eminence Cardinal Peter Codwo Apia Torson as members of the administration of the Patrimony of the Apostolic See. The Vatican announced Monday, February 22, 2021. Cardinal Tagle is also the current prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, while Cardinal Torson is the prefect of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. Both have been touted as potential successors of the Pope. The administration of the Patrimony of the Apostolic See, the powerful body that acts as the Vatican's central bank, is the office of the Roman Curia that deals with the provisions owned by the Holy See in order to provide the funds necessary for the Roman Curia to function. From the Universal Church, we move to the reports from the local church. St. Joseph Nationwide Consecration. The Catholic Bishops' Conference in the Philippines, or CBCP, approved the consecration of the Philippines to the patronage of St. Joseph on May 1, Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. Bishop Broderick Pabilio announced the approval and assigned the CBCP's Commission on the Laity, which he chairs, to organize the event, starting off with a 30-day spiritual preparation for the consecration that starts on March 30, to make sure the devotion is understood well and practiced properly. The Sangguniang Laiko ng Pilipinas, or LICO, also facilitated the distribution of the book Consecration to St. Joseph by Marian Father Donald Calloway to dioceses and for those joining the celebration. The LICO on Saturday, February 13, organized a virtual conference with Calloway on how to make the Year of St. Joseph more meaningful and life-changing. The national consecration is one of the highlights of the Philippine Church celebration of the current year of St. Joseph, where Pope Francis has declared this special year in honor of the 150th anniversary of the saint as patron of the Universal Church. The national consecration falls on International Workers' Day, also known as Labor Day in most countries like the Philippines.
Cebu prelates now recover from COVID-19. Cebu Archbishop Jose Palma and Cebu Auxiliary Bishop Emeritus Antonio Ranyola, who recently tested positive for the COVID-19, are now on the road to recovery, according to their doctors, as shared by the Archdiocese of Cebu Facebook page, Monday, February 22. The doctors are hoping that they start to develop antibodies in their blood system, it further read. The Archdiocese asks everyone to be one in praying for all who are afflicted. On February 19, the Archdiocese announced that Archbishop Palma tested positive for COVID-19 but remains to be in a stable condition as is under close medical monitoring by his doctors. Days after, it also announced that retired Cebu Auxiliary Bishop Ranyola also contracted coronavirus and that his health condition is stable. According to the Archdiocese, one of his priests, Father Russell Sungkad, was also hospitalized for COVID-19. New National Cultural Treasures. The National Museum of the Philippines is set to declare the image of the Santo Niño de Cebu and the Basilica Minore del Santo Niño as national cultural treasures this coming April, in time with the celebration of the 500 years of Christianity in the country. The National Historical Commission of the Philippines, or NHCP, Chairperson Rene R. Escalante, who is also the concurrent Executive Director of the National Quincentennial Committee during the launching of the three-part webinar bound by history, Magellan, Santo Niño, and the beginning of the Augustinian evangelization, that the declaration is set on April 14, 2021, the day of the Catholic Church's celebration of the 500th anniversary of the introduction of Christianity in the Philippines. The image of Santo Niño is the oldest Catholic religious relic in the Philippines. It was the same image given by Ferdinand Magellan as a baptismal token to Hara Amihan, Queen Juana, the wife of Raja Humabon, King Carlos of Sugbo. Since then, there are countless miracles and divine interventions attributed to the 500-year-old miraculous image. Meanwhile, the Basilica was the first founded church in the Philippines by the Augustinians in 1565 and has been designated by the Holy See as the mother and head of all churches in the Philippines in 1965. Millions of devotees also flock to the Santo Niño Basilica in Cebu every year to pay homage and thanksgiving to the Holy Child.
That's it for those of stories from the consecrated life, the church, and the world.
Catch our next episode for more of
The Religious Reports.
The 20th of February is observed as World Day of Social Justice since 2009. The principles of social justice are upheld to promote gender equality, the rights of indigenous people and the migrants, principles for peaceful and prosperous coexistence within and among the nations. Today, we will know how far or near are we in attaining social justice for all, especially here in our country.
We are honored to introduce to you our guest for today. She was Chief of the Asia Pacific and Arab States of UN Women New York for 6 years. She's also the UNDP Senior Gender Advisor to the government of Pakistan for 3 years and was the first chairperson of the Department of Political Science at the De La Salle University for over 20 years. Now, she is an active member of the Committee for the Freedom of Senator Laila de Lima.
Let's hear it as she shares her points, opinions, and views for this episode titled Justice for All, Freedom for All. Mga kahabits, let's welcome Dr. SOCORRO Reyes.
Marami pong
Hello
salamat.
po, Doc Soc.
Yes,
Welcome
marami-
to the show. Welcome
Marami-
to The Habits. It's our privilege to have you po just to give us some knowledge and opinions about the social justice system of today. And of course, we will talk about Senator Laila de Lima.
Yes, it's also part of, later we will ask her also about it. Okay. Dr. Soc, to start our conversation, we quote Pope Francis in his 2015 visit as he said, essential to the attainment of the country's national goal is the moral imperative of ensuring social justice and respect for human dignity. In your assessment of the social justice scene in the Philippines, how far or near are we as a sovereign country in attaining social justice for all?
Thank you very much for that question. Social justice is actually enshrined in our Constitution, and it's supposed to be one of the highest goals that all our governments must pursue. Unfortunately, in my opinion, we're getting further and further away from achieving social justice in this country. We still see the poor, the marginalized, the discriminated among members of our community suffering great inequalities, especially in the time of pandemic. Pandemic has actually heightened inequalities. Now we see how people who are of a lesser privilege are getting more and more problems in accessing their food, in accessing health care, and justice. We are really so far away from social justice. And we, for example, witness the continued extrajudicial killings. The drug war strategy is not a social justice strategy. It is actually a denial of justice for those who have committed crimes that require not to be killed, but to be rehabilitated. We've seen more and more homeless people out there in the streets. We see our lumads being treated like they are rebels, they are communists, and denied opportunities for education. We have seen women who are victims of misogyny, way no less than the president. We know also victims of sexual harassment. We know of domestic violence increasing in the Philippines. So when you talk of social justice, my own assessment is that we are, further and further away from this goal, which, is in our Constitution, which is in human rights instruments, which is in Pope Francis's, statement, but it doesn't seem to, be making much progress in our country.
Yes po, I really agree with you, Dr. Sok. Kasi also in my encounter or in my close contact with the people in the streets, at the same time, also reading the news, ay nakakalungkot nga po talaga. And yeah, it's in the news at the same time because I have direct contact or I know people really in the streets na tinutulungan din naman namin sila according to our capacity. Pero I know the government could have helped more, could have helped better with their resources. Kami yung resources namin, resources lang ng community. And really, there is still so much suffering and pain and really social injustices in our country. Thank you po for sharing with that. Dr. Sok, as we all know, this year we are celebrating the 35th EDSA People Power Revolution 1. And how is social justice connected to the demands asserted by the EDSA Revolution? But we will hear your answers after our short break.
Mga kahabits, don't go away and stay tuned. Only here with your all-new information and inspiration companion. This is The Habits.
Katapos, on this very day, on that very day when she was picked up and arrested, I was actually there in her office to give, moral support. So, hindi siya nakabail. Drugs daw drug trading, which is non-bailable. So, kinulong hindi lang isang kaso, 3 na kaso.
Hoy sigue habiendo mujeres que sufren violencia psicológica, violencia verbal, violencia física, violencia sexual. Es impresionante el número de mujeres golpeadas, ofendidas, violadas. Las distintas formas de malos tratos que sufren muchas mujeres son una cobardía y una degradación para toda la humanidad, para los hombres y para toda la humanidad. Los testimonios de las víctimas que se atreven a romper su silencio son un grito de socorro que no podemos ignorar. No podemos mirar para otro lado. Recemos por las mujeres que son víctimas de la violencia, para que sean protegidas por la sociedad y para que su sufrimiento sea considerado y sea escuchado por todos.
Talita kum ay kalinga.
Talitha kum is companionship.
Talita kum jorta hai.
Talita kum ni mshikamano.
Talita kum é prevenção.
Talita kum hiya tarmim al-karami.
Talita kum c'est protéger.
탈리타 쿰은 하나님의 열정입니다.
Talitha kum is solidarity.
Talitha kum is connections.
Talita kum silong chia ia.
Talita kum ira laisve.
Talita kum es compromiso.
Talita kum for domin ba otras.
Talita kum este courage.
Talita kum es empoderamiento.
Talita kum orogono.
Talita kum ist expressa.
And we're back here in the habits, and we're still with Dr. SOCORRO Reyes in POV, Points, Opinions, Views. Dr. Stock, let's continue our discussions po. The country has celebrated the 35th EDSA Revolution anniversary last February 25, and the event can be interpreted as the Filipinos' final stand to end years of martial law and assert their demand for democracy and social justice. How can you explain the steady deterioration of the justice system and the growing inequality between class, gender, and ethnicity?
Thank you for that question. You know, frankly, we squandered the gains of the 1986 EDSA Revolution. It could have been a turning point in our life as a nation. And all of us had great hopes for transformative change. But what happened? Really frustrated our people's desires because there was the same kind of elite-dominated politics. And it didn't, you know, our pronouncements didn't translate into real change in people's lives. You know, there was euphoria at the start. And, you know, people were really happy. And in fact, we were recognized globally for a bloodless revolution. And everybody was talking about people power. You know, they had all these kinds of revolution that they patterned after us. In Europe, you have the purple revolution and anywhere else. But what happened? Government after government, administration after administration didn't turn words into action. In fact, we know that corruption increased. We know that even with the most so-called democratic governments, there were still salvaging. There were still people killed for their political beliefs. And we know that there was still heightened, you know, domination by the powerful few, by the powerful rich. Siyempre, mapafrustrate ang mga tao. Kasi, bakit wala naman atang nagbago sa buhay namin? Bakit lang mahirap pa rin kami? Ba't wala pa rin kaming trabaho? Ba't wala pa rin kaming bahay? Bakit nandiyan pa rin kami sa mga squatter area? So, frustrated ang tao eh. And in fact, that would explain Duterte's ascendancy to power. Kasi nakita ng mga tao, ay naku, pag pala itong mga elitista, itong mga Inglesera, itong mga, nakatira sa mga subdivisions, wala naman nangyari sa atin. Ito tumama na, wow, using our language, Yung projection niya, ano siya yung talagang galing sa masa, even if he is not really that. Pero ganyan ang pagdating niya, mga issue, drugs, naku, ang daming namamatay, ang daming criminality. Ito ang sagot ko. In fact, that's why he won, no? Because of that issue of drugs. So, sayang, no? But of course, we learn from the past. We don't get chained to the past. We should learn from the past and then move on with, ground realities, with really knowing what the people need. So, sa ngayon, ano ang kailangan natin? Kailangan natin ng pagkain, ng pera, ng healthcare. Kailangan natin. Kailangan natin ng internet. Kailangan natin ng mga devices kasi, di ba, online homeschooling. That has heightened inequality, because only those who really have the money to buy all these devices or have people donating to them can really do homeschooling and kung merong magtuturo sa kanila. And you see, that also brought about, by the way, yung tinatawag nating care economy, na ang mga babae ang talagang in charge, no? Our care economy is in full drive. Ano yung sabihin? Kasi kung ikaw nanay, no? So ikaw ay naghahanap buhay, kailangan ma-augment yung kinikita ng asawa mo. Pero at the same time, ikaw pa rin ang household work, no? Ikaw magluluto, ikaw maglilinis, ikaw maglalaba, ikaw mamamlansya. Magtuturo ka pa. So, and you take care not only of the young, you take care also of the old people. Diba? Kasi, of course, marami din mga magulang natin, kailangan din natin na alagaan. So, naging back-to-back, no? Ang ng babae. That's the care economy. Yet, yung care economy, hindi naman yan bina-valuated, no? I mean, wala yung wages, no? Wala yung perang equivalent, di ba? Kaya hindi yan nakikita sa National System of Accounts. Yet, tingnan mo ang average household, kung sino ang talagang bearing the brunt. So, going back to the 1980s, we really squandered the gains of the 1980s revolution. And will we able to, duplicate or replicate it now? Parang mahirap. However, we can still work for transformative change. Yung talagang pagbabago na hindi lang bago ang nakaupo, hindi lang bago ang partido, hindi lang bago mo, kundi bago ang nangyayari pagbabago sa buhay. I think that's important yung pagbabago sa buhay ng tao. Meron ba nun? Nangyari ba yon? Meron ba ako ngayong mas kinikita? Meron ba ako ngayon na mas access sa mga ospital? Meron ba ako ngayon mas may pera para sa aking mga gamot? Meron ba ako ngayong more opportunities for education? Meron ba ako ngayong access sa hustisya, sa hukuman? Halimbawa, yung I know this for a fact, di ba, yung mga drug addicts na kanilang tinuhuli, yung hindi nila pinatay, ikukulong nila. Oh my Lord! Yung kondisyon sa loob ng selda, yung mga dapat 10 lang, mga 100 sila, na hindi sila nakakakain, nakakatulog maayos, nakakakain maayos, ay, nagkakasakit, all kinds of skin diseases. Ano na nangyayari, no? So, nakakalungkot. Dahil sa sayang, no? Yung mga kapitbahay natin, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. Naunahan na nga tayo eh. Vietnam particularly. Nauna na sa atin, samantalang dati tayo yung mayroong upper hand, di ba? Sa Southeast Asia. Sa bakuna nga meron na ang mga kapitbahay natin mas mahirap kaysa sa atin. Ha? I know Bangladesh. Meron na silang meron na silang vaccine. Tayo, ano ginagawa natin? Pinag-aawayan pa natin kung saan manggagaling, kung anong ibabayad. Pero dry run tayo ng dry run, ha? Practice tayo ng practice. From one point to the other. Diyan tayo
mag-attendance din, andun na.
Galing din tao. Tapos, anong news ngayon? Bago pa pala naman yan authorized, no? Sila pala ay nagkaroon na ng Sinovac vaccine. Our government officials are the #1 violators of the law. Kasi hindi dapat yan Dapat yun authorized ng FDA, di ba? Look at
maganda po yung highlight nyo kanina, no, na parang the spirit of EDSA is still there and we will not forget what had happened to EDSA. Pero yung hamon kung paano natin ipagpapatuloy yung spirito ng EDSA, parang sa gitna ng rehimeng Duterte, napakahirap dahil tayo mismo, kaming mga taong simbahan, #1 na sinisiil ng presidenteng ito. At naniniwala ko ito'y isang napakagandang palatandaan na talagang gusto niyang destabilize yung mga institusyon na naniniwala sa demokrasya. And with that, Doc, I know that for some time, people really believe that yung mga icons natin like Cory, Aquino, and the others na talagang nanindigan para sa demokrasya, maraming naninira na elitista lang ang naniniwala, pero nakita naman natin yung nangyari sa mga nagdaan. And isang napakagandang halimbawa nung nagsimula yung rehimeng Duterte, si Senator Laila de Lima, no? She speaks with her heart, with conviction. In fact, yung hope, no, na talagang merong pag-asa ang criminal justice system. Pero hindi natin alam, siguro tinamaan yung mga makapangyarihan dahil sila yung unang talagang tinutukoy, no? So, Doc, can you please explain how Senator de Lima and many other people wrongly accused of a crime can be incarcerated for many years if the country has a solid justice system?
Thank you, Father, for the question. Una-una, siguro dapat kong sabihin na Senator Laila was my student at LaSalle when it was in the undergrad. Kasi sa San Bede na siya nag-College of Law kasi at that time wala nang kaming College of Law. And si Senator Laila, very indiscreet na, hindi mo talaga mapapansin. She's shy, she's short, she's laid back. Hindi mo talaga mapapansin. Pagkatapos, naging Secretary of Justice, naging Senador, and what really struck me was when Senator Laila de Lima, who was already then senator, sitting senator and head of the Committee on Justice, called us. I'm a member of Every Woman, that advocacy organization, called on us for support dahil may committee meeting. Pagkatapos daw, merong ipe-present na very controversial witness. Di syempre, so good naman, no? Punta naman tayo. Kasi I always feel like, as a teacher, I have a responsibility to my students, especially when they are being harassed. So, nagpunta ako naman doon with another friend. And guess who ang witness na sa Committee on Justice? Si Matobato, si Edgar Matobato, who was already testifying about yung Davao Death Squad ni Duterte. That actually started Senator Laila de Lima's sufferings. Although even before, nung CHR kasi siya head, nagpa-investigate siya ng Davao Death Squad. In fact, muntik siya mamatay doon. Pero nung naging senador siya, tapos Committee on Justice, tapos binring up pa niya yun, ayan na ang umpisa ng kanyang paghihirap. No? In fact, remember, on the inauguration, the State of the Nation address, nung dumaan si Duterte sa harap niya, sa House, nung sabi niya, nakipagkamay-kamay pa, no? Pero he also said, from day one, sinabi niya, he will destroy Laila. Okay, so fast forward. So, naging senador siya. Pagkatapos, on this very day, on that very day, when she was picked up and arrested, I was actually there in her office to give, moral support. So, hindi siya nakabail. Drugs daw eh. Drug trading, which is non-bailable. So, kinulong, hindi lang isang kaso, 3 na kaso. And ano ang nangyayari ngayon? Ang kanilang mga witnesses are those convicted criminals. Convicted of what? Kidnapping with ransom or court for ransom, murder, robbery, ano pa ba? Illegal possession of ammunition. Sino ang mga inano sa kanya, pinarada na witnesses? And alam ko to kasi bago mag-COVID, I'll make it a point to always attend the hearings. And kahit ngayon, I follow up. I follow up kung ano nangyayari. And naku naman, ang mga testimonies ng witnesses, all contradictory. All, hearsay. All, bali-baligtad, no? And they all point to like the commander of commanders in the National Deleted Prison, J.D. Sebastian, who we know died na eh. Una na stab siya, ngayon matay na of COVID-19. So, wala na yung tao eh, wala na yung masasabi, patay na nga eh. So this case has been dragging, for 4 years. Tapos, ang dami na judges, by the way, na either nag-retire or nag-give up. Hindi nila gusto na mag-handle ng kaso. So ngayon, may 3 siyang kaso. 2 nasa branch 205. Tapos yung isa, I think, branch 256, in separate judges and ongoing yung hearing. No? So, where's justice? We don't have, fair, just criminal justice system. We have a broken criminal justice system. Paano naging broken? Tignan mo naman. Yung mga prosecutors, yung even the Department of Justice, yung lahat sila nag-follow sa kumpas ni Duterte, no? So, ang point talaga, I think, sa aking opinion nito, is to keep Laila there until the end of Duterte storm. Kasi mahirap si Laila nakawala dahil siya ay maboka, siya ay matapang, siya ay, so broken. We don't have, criminal justice system that we can rely on. Having said that, sige pa rin naman ang hearing, sige pa rin ang defense ni Laila, sige pa rin ang, pero tiyan mo na-acquit na sa isa, no? So 2 to go. So we hope that the judges who are now in charge of the case will exert independence, from who. Otherwise, ano sila eh, kung susunod sila sa kumpas ng isang tao, then they will keep her there. In fact, I know na they will keep her until the end of the term kasi nung nag-attend pa ako ng hearings, nag-i-schedule yung judge ng mga, nag-i-schedule ng hearings, no? All the way up to 2022 eh. Ano ang message, no? Nandiyan ka. Yun nga, at saka remember, mapopostpone pa yun. Di ba? Kasi ganun ang mga
mga delaying tactics po.
Yeah, so makikita mo na talagang ang objective is really to keep her there. Because I think with this government, that is the safest way to do. Para hindi, salitang. So, lalo na ngayon, no, because of COVID, do you know that before COVID, we will have yung parokya ni Laila na mass every Sunday. We will be there. Kasi naman yung tao, no, wala naman siyang kasama noon. So that's the time for friends, for relatives to attend mass. Ang mga nagmimisa, si Father Flavi, si Father Albert Alejo, si Father Robert, o tsaka nagpunta na rin din si Bishop Soc Villegas, at saka si Pabs, no? Si Bishop Padillo, nagpupunta rin naman doon nagmimisa. Ngayon, COVID. Wow! Virtually solitary confinement. Huwebes ka lang pwedeng ang bisita ng 1 oras lang. Tuesday, Thursdays. And sino mga kabisita? Pamilya. abogado, at saka pare. So magkasya-kasya kayo doon sa 1 hour, no? Maghati-hati kayo doon sa 1 hour na yon. So, wala tayong sorry, it's a broken, not solid criminal justice. And kung magagawa yung kay Laila, you can imagine what they can do to others. No? Si Laila,
yun naman po talaga yung point from the very beginning na nagbanggit siya ng mga general, no? Ng mga taong kilala dito sa laban kontra sa droga, pero wala namang pinatay sa kanila. Ang pinatay, yung mga karaniwang taong hindi kilala na walang maghahanap. Kaya po, talagang inuna niya si Ma'am Laila, no? Para ipakita na talaga ang ngipin ng kapangyarihan ay nasa kanila ngayon. So, ako po, I really agree with you, and sa amin, no, sa AMRSP, that's why we also release a statement in solidarity with Ma'am Laila, and in relation na rin sa ating EDSA celebration. But you mentioned about the situation of the global pandemic. And we believe that the global pandemic has exacerbated and amplified the social inequalities in most countries, especially in the Philippines. Sa tingin niyo po, kayo po na nagtuturo sa De La Salle, at marami po kayong kilalang mga pari na nabanggit, no? What can the church do to move the government to work for social justice for all?
Yeah, the church plays a very important role. Kasi kayo, ang the church, no? Kahit anong gawin ni Duterte, the church has survived through the centuries, no? Ang daming naging problema ng simbahan, ang daming nag-criticize sa simbahan, ang daming nag-condemn, yet you are there standing. In fact, kayo na nga lang at ang institusyon na nakaka-survive nitong ganitong pang-abuso, no? So you play a very, very important role. And ano ang pwede? Of course, number one, yung ginagawa yung pagtulong, no, sa mga the least, the last, and the oppressed, in other words, no, and the lost. Yon, I know that dami kasi ako kunyari I work very closely with Father Flavius Kalinga at saka yung Paghilom. Member din ako ng Baygani and we are a feminist advocacy organization, and we take care of EJK families. Lalo na yung mga kita mo, sister at father, for every drug addict suspected that they kill, they leave behind at least 6 people. No? Yung nanay, yung tatay, yung asawa, yung mga anak. Ganun kung ano man ang pinatay mo, i-times 6 mo yun. Ganong kadami ang naapektuhan. So we work closely with with Paghilom, with Kalinga. We work closely with parishes in Camarin, in Novaliches, in Payatas, that's one very, very important. But another thing that's very important, I think, is the church taking a position. Yung katulad ng ginagawa ng CBCP, yung talagang strongly, condemning what this government is doing. At saka yung hindi ka matatakot na, sige, you just dance with the tune kasi baka ano yung ganito na. I think that's a very important function of the church. Kasi nakakapagsalita kayo And mas ang gobyerno ay mas cautious na hulihin, arestuhin, although of course may mga namamatay na, no, na mga pare. So, meron kayo yung I wouldn't say charity, no, it's not a good term, but yung pagtulong, yung paglingap, and yung pag-advocacy, yung talagang taking a very, kaya I appreciate yung nyari kayo, no, sa AMRSP. I know you're a human rights defender, and I also appreciate yung CBCP na mga posisyon na tinitake. At saka, the other function of the church is really, you are the unifying, the consolidating, you are the, you are the you unify people. I remember EDSA, basically, it was a cardinal sin call, di ba? So, marami pa rin sumasampalataya And kung anong ang kumpas ng simbahan, yun ay sinusunod. Of course, meron din sa mga simbahan na konserbatibo. I know that. Meron din mga taga-simbahan na maka-Duterte. I know that. You know? Oo, alam ko yan. Ako, father, tsaka sister. Consummation yung mga ganyan. Pero anyway, as an institution naman, the church is solid. You know, so talaga gano'n, no? Kahit naman saan, merong iba-ibang opinion, no? So I think that is a very important, mission of the church.
Dok, marami tayong mga hamon na ibinigay, hindi lamang po sa simbahan, kundi kahit sa mga mamamayan na nakikiisa sa atin. Meron po ba kayong mensahe na gustong ipaabot, lalong-lalo na po sa mga kapwa namin, mga relihiyoso at relihiyosa, at sa lahat po, hindi lamang patungkol sa ating social justice, kundi kahit yung imahe ni Laila de Lima na isang magandang halimbawa, at yung patuloy na hamon sa atin sa panahong ito ng ating pakikibaka at pagharap sa sistema ng gobyerno na meron tayo.
Siguro ang mensahe ko, sister and father, by the way, thanks for this opportunity, is that we are just as responsible for what is happening to us as government. In other words, dapat tayo mismo ang magkaroon ng responsibilidad to hold our government accountable. And the very first thing to do is, of course, not only to keep ourselves abreast, informed of the issues, but turn words into action. Hindi lang magsalita, mag-act. Halimbawa, yung nangyayari ngayon dito sa COVID-19, no? Yung kanilang ginagawang bulilyasan ng gobyerno, araw-araw na lang meron magsalita, mag-unite. At saka ito pa isa, father, at saka sister. Siguro naman, let us unite, no? All the forces, whether you are left, right, middle, this is the time to really unite. Pag hindi kasi nag-unite, wala, watak-watak. Kaya nga, ang gobyerno is able to ride on the divisions that are now occurring in society. Di ba? Pagkatapos, hindi lang yon. Yung kay Laila de Lima, huwag kalimutan, no? It is not about Laila herself. It's about us as a people. It is about us being denied justice. It is about us being denied freedom. At saka gustong-gusto ko yung Filipino saying, ang sakit ng kalingkingan ay sakit ng buong katawan. Hindi mo pwedeng, kasi we're a body politic, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, ay, hindi ko naman problema yan, no? Kasi, walang makain. Ako, marami na akong makakain. O, freedom, o I am free naman. Hindi pwedeng ganon eh. Hindi pwede. We have to wake up to the fact that for every single individual who's being treated unjustly, tayo yun eh. Tayo yun. Every woman being maligned, ako yun. Hindi sila lang. Diyan kami nag-umpisa ang every woman, nung inaano siya, nung sa congressional hearing, di ba? She was being really maligned, she was being misogynized, she was being, di ba? Noon, dyan na form ang every woman. Lahat ng kabastusan mo kay Laila ay kabastusan sa amin, sa bawat babae. Kaya yung sex video, doon kami lumabas eh. That is me in the video. Yung sabi lang sa ako yon. Hindi yun si Laila, ako yun. Kaya, di ba, hindi yung pinakita eh. Yung sex video na yon. So, yung siguro, ang aking appeal is tayo. Hindi lang ang simbahan, kundi bawat Pilipino. At saka, by the way, hindi naman ito pang political election. Malapit ng election, get your voices heard. Ito ang panahon, ito ang mekanismo para sa pagbabago. Huwag pagbili ang boto. Use the vote as your instrument for change. At bumoto according to issues, according to what matters to you most, according to who will address your issues, not who will line your pockets. Kasi yan eh. Di ba? Mahabang yan. So, yun nga, let's unite. Hindi tayo mananalo pag hati-hati tayo. At para sa simbahan, keep it up, keep going. We're looking up to the church. No matter what the church says about the church, we stand by the church actually. And a vigilant, committed church. So, tsaka magtulungan because of this pandemic, no? Be more generous naman kasi walang hanap buhay ang mga tao. This is the time to really help. This is really the time to be charitable. This is really the time to, make everybody your sister, your brother. Pandemya to eh. So yun lang, Father, parang nag-homily na ako, Father.
Thank you for that challenge. Talaga, each of us has our responsibility. Yun na nga. We make ourselves informed, at the same time put this into action, di ba? So thank you so much for that, Dr. Sok. Thank you for that very meaningful and prophetic discussion about social justice. And we hope our kahabits, religious men and women, realize something and your points, opinions, and views made an impact to them. Muli, maraming salamat po, Doc Sok. So, kahabit Father Angel, anong masasabi mo sa talakayan natin sa araw na ito?
Well, umiinog yung mundo, no? Pero yung mga issue na kinaharap natin ay lalo pang umiigting, no? Pabigat ng pabigat at bilang mga mamamayang Pilipino, nasa gitna tayo ng krisis pero meron pang mas malalim na krisis na kinakaharap. Yun yung krisis ng hustisya, krisis ng karapatang pangtao, at yung malalim na sugat ng sistema ng gobyerno na hanggang ngayon ay hindi natin makita kung paano tayo tutugon bilang isang sambayanan, kabilang ang simbahan. At sa akin, tayo sa AMRSP, hindi naman tayo nawawala. Lagi tayong naroroon kasama ng mga kapatid natin sa lansangan. Nilalabas natin yung boses na gusto nilang sabihin. Pero ako minsan nag-iisip hanggang kailan tayo ganito. Nung nakaraang linggo, wala ako pero nasa novitiate ako. Nagbigay ako ng GPIC orientation sa mga novices namin. Nanood ako ng Sister Stella L.
Wow.
Paulit-ulit yung tanong. Sabi nga ni Sister Stella L, kung hindi tayo, sino? Kung hindi ngayon, kailan? At para sa akin, relevant pa rin yun na ang mga consecrated, hindi tayo nakikialam o nakikisawsaw, pero ginagamit natin yung responsibilidad natin bilang mga makabagong propeta para paigtingin yung pagpapalaganap ng mabuting balita patungo sa kaharian ng Diyos. Yan.
Pwedeng copy-paste na lang yung answer ko. Pero I was also touched with that Dr. Sok nung sinabi niya na we have that responsibility. We have the voice. That's why we become the voice of the voiceless. Siyempre, we also do with the capacity that we have, pero may magagawa talaga tayo in terms of facing the social justice sa bansa natin.
Ako gusto ko rin bigyang diin yung sinabi niya, malapit na yung 2022.
Yes.
At ngayon nagpaparamdam na naman sila, para silang mga
nakalimot
na biglang nakaalala. At marami na, sabi ko nga sa homilya ko nung linggo, kailangan tayong maging mapagmatsyag sa mga tanda. At kung nakikita natin yung mga overpass, meron na mga tarpaulin,
marami na.
Nagpaparamdam na sila. Nasa inyo po mga kahabit ang sagot kung ipagpapatuloy ba natin yung klase ng gobyerno na meron tayo. Wala po akong binabanggit na pangalan, pero naniniwala po ako na ang pagbabago ay wala sa liderato, kundi sa mamamayan na naniniwala sa sistema na meron tayo.
Yes.
Ayan.
Yan nga. So, conclusion na yan. Sige. So, yes, and I believe na may tumatak sa ating mga kahabits mula sa ating pinag-usapan kanina. So please, we want to hear your points, opinions, and views. Comment them below the live streams. At ano pa ang gusto mong pag-usapan natin sa darating pang episodes? For comments or suggestions, i-message niyo kami via Facebook at facebook.com/amrsp.org. And while you're there sa aming page, like and follow na para updated ka.
At kahabits, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, AMRSP Media. where you can also catch our weekly broadcast of the Holy Rosary and the Sunday Eucharist. Sama-sama tayo as we strive to reach 1,000 followers sa YouTube. Mapapanood nyo na rin ang The Habit sa TV Maria Free Channel every Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with replace every Thursday at 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Kaya mga kahabits, let us stay connected.
Again, we wish to thank Dr. SOCORRO Reyes for her points, opinions, and views. Next week, be with us again for another POV episode. Join us as we explore consecrated life, the church, the world, and the society. This has been your kahabit, Sister Happy Montesilio of the Daughters of St. Anne.
Thank you very much for joining us on our weekly religious routine. This is your kahabit, Father Angel Cortez from the Order of Friars Minor, signing off from your weekly inspiration and information companion. We have been The Habits.